Guys, I'm gonna break what I'm doing. Mute. Okay. Hi guys. Hi. Hello, and hopefully everybody's had a relaxing weekend. Maybe, hopefully. My Bills won. Yay. So I'm wearing my new Bills shirt. As a wonderful hello. Hi. Okay, everything's driving me crazy. All right, so I had about a million things planned today. And of course, as the weekend usually goes, like nothing quite really went into place, right? There's a couple things that I wanted to do yesterday, and it just didn't come together right. I have to say, first of all, that the dolphins aren't fish. Look, Sherry Bug, for years and years and years, Squish the Fish has been a thing. And I realize that they're not fish, but that's what we think of them. We think of them as lower even than dolphins. So there. But I have to say, first of all, that my knee is feeling a whole lot better. And I haven't really talked about that very much, like in messages and stuff. The cortisone shot seems to have helped a whole lot. I can tell, though, that because it felt better, I probably have done too much on it this weekend, even though yesterday it was totally a lazy day and I did almost nothing. I meant to do a million things, and I've been up and down the stairs 12 times, pulling things out for my altars and all that kind of stuff. So that was probably a bad idea, because I'm starting to feel little twinges, and I'm like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have. I mean, I know, and I took my brace off because it was annoying. I hate it. So, anyways, Mama Squirrel, not too smart as usual. However, I kind of was back and forth, and I decided, Rachel is one that messaged me. I had a couple messages that said, a lot of people all of a sudden, as happens a lot around Samhain, guys, we've had a lot of transitions. A lot of people have crossed through the veil in the last couple weeks. Pepper oil, yes. And so I've had a lot of requests to, and then a live, yay! To kind of just do a little remembrance, maybe for those people that, so many of us have lost people recently that have gone through the veil. And so I thought I would do just a quick remembrance to remember those that we all have lost, because it does seem, as every year to me, that something happens when Samhain comes closer, that transition more. I didn't turn this off. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hang on. Okay, hopefully that'll do it. That was bad. So I do have just a little candle lighting and a couple readings that I wanted to read in remembrance for those people who have crossed over. And then you can barely hear me, really? Damn it. Is that for everyone? Is everyone kind of low on the volume? Because usually I'm like knocking people out of the park, right? Hi, honey. Loud and clear, loud and clear. I don't know. It just sucks. This happens too close to my disability court date, which has me losing sleep. Ugh, I know. I hear you. So I don't know, Hexen, why you can't hear me. I'm sorry. Shit. Normally, I know, because normally I'm quite loud. I know. So, unclear. And did I say loud? Exactly. Hi, for the past 2 weeks, I've been to 2 funerals. It's been horrible. My close cousin and my neighbor, a mom or 2 children. My loud ass parents. Sorry. Exactly. And I didn't really talk about this too much ahead of time either, but my cousin, the whole thing that happened when my cousin recently, his actually my second cousin, because it's my cousin's daughter died. I chose not to go to the funeral this weekend. And there was a reason for that. As an empath, it was not something that I thought this is going to kind of really throw things into a loop for me, and I wasn't really prepared for that. The other thing was, it's very hard to go to a young person's funeral, and I did not. Hi, Cass. I did not know Nikki that well. I probably met her only 5 times or so, and I have already set up things with Kelly, with her mother, that I'll be going to support her in other ways, and I have already done that a couple times. And I just thought, you know what, I just am not gonna subject myself to that, because I didn't think that my presence there was needed for Kelly, who is, you know, if I was gonna go, it would have been for her. But and I knew that that would really throw me, so I just didn't do that. Hello, everyone. And I encourage you all to really look at, you know, there is something to be said for self-care. And I do feel that there's, I don't know, there's a feeling of obligation, kind of, sometimes to go to a family funeral, even if you weren't very close. But I do encourage everyone to kind of look at that obligation and weigh it with your self-care. In this case, it just was a case of, I would not have been going for Nikki, who is the one who died. I would have been going for her mother, and she had other support systems and stuff. We have people, family come in from Florida and that kind of thing, and I wasn't needed there. So, right? I know, Rachel, and I usually do too, but I'm really looking at things differently now. And I'm really trying to put my self-care and what I know it will do to me ahead of some other things. So, yes, if you need closure and for them or family, exactly. I've sang at funerals and it's overwhelming. I really have to work on shielding myself. Absolutely, right? I totally get that, for sure. Rachel, who's on here, has recently lost an aunt. If you know Ashley and Mama Lillian, Ashley's grandmother died this past week, and Lillian very much felt that she was very close to her also. And there's several others. It's just been, you know, very, very secure in the fact that the veil is thin. And keep in mind that to me, it seems almost like an easier transition, because it's so thin, that it's so close. It's very easy to reach out through that veil right now. So even people who may have fought a little bit more, or felt that they had more to live for and all that kind of stuff, if something tragic happens, I do feel that it's easier for them to reach through the veil. So I never go up to the coffin. To me, this is all around us and is with us. They are. Yes, I lost 4 at Mabin this year. Right? It just seems like I'm working on coming to terms with a few things. So, having said that, I did just work up a couple of reading type of things. I pulled out and I put a couple essential oils on one of the Santa Marta candles that I gotten from the Dollar Tree. So I just do want to light that candle, and I'm going to let that burn out before I let it go. And then I'm going to do a couple readings, which I include as part of my rituals when I do any kind of service of life after someone goes. There is there's several good books about paganism and crossing over and that kind of thing. This is one of them. This is called In the Service of Life, A Wiccan Perspective on Death. This is by Ashley Nogaya. This author is the author that does the Sabbath books that I love so much that are split into two. She's very good. And so there's just actually two things that I want to read. Hopefully the other bookmark didn't come out. No, it didn't. Okay. Okay, to me, the funeral is really for family unless it's a full church service, right? Yeah, exactly. I agree. This morning as I work, I heard a voice tell me by Christmas Day someone near me would be gone, and that's possible, for sure. Hi, Brat. Okay, this is called Death and the Goddess. And as she descended through the realms and leaving her robes and gems behind her on the harrowing trail, she came at last before the Lord of the underworld. And she was bound and blindfolded as though she had no body and no senses left by which to perceive. And before the Lord of the underworld, she knelt and said, I have set aside all my clothes and jewelry and come before you bringing nothing. And I kneel before you, not because I love you, but to ask you why you would cause all I love to wither and die. And the Lord of the underworld embraced her most tenderly and said, it is age and fate, lady, against which I am helpless. But when all things die, I give them rest and strength, that they may be born again, as I am reborn through your life. So that is the story of Persephone going into the underworld to Hades, and Hades telling her, it is not me that is taking these people. That is the way of life and death, that everyone comes to death. It's me that comforts them. And she finally realizes that there's love in that, which is a beautiful way to look at that transition. So the other one is a story that I just love this story, and I have to find a better version of this story, but I will eventually. I bet. Okay. So this is called The First Grandmother. And it says, tell me again about the first grandmother, the child asked eagerly. We had been telling the old stories all afternoon. I'd been waiting for the child to ask for this one. A very long time ago, I began softening the words toward a whisper. Before the first day of time lived the first grandmother, and she danced like shadows and sun. I paused. The child and I closed our eyes and watched the first grandmother dance. And then she danced with her feet. And then she danced with her hands. And then she danced with her songs. And then she danced with her heart. I told, and the child's lips moved with mine. The first grandmother appeared to our people as a queen, robed in silver music, sounding the rhythm of life with every step. The child bounced at my feet and blurted out the next few lines, and her hair was long and black and silver, like the threads of the cosmos, and with her walked her attendants, Shadow and Power. I had not known the child had learned so much of the story, and I smiled. The first grandmother was a high priestess to our people, and she was a shaman among us, and she lived among our people for some time. And while she was among us, our people were enriched. And the first grandmother undertook many hardships and many dangerous adventures, and our people marveled at her courage and felt awe when they felt her spirit. The first grandmother made gifts to our people, gifts of beauty and wisdom. She gave them her runes, and when our people looked up from these gifts, they saw that the first grandmother stood no longer before them, Why did she leave them? The child wondered aloud for both of us. She did not leave our people, I proclaimed formally, and the child's lips moved with mine again. She changed her aspect to us. Our people knew this too, for they could still feel her among us, as we do, and as your children's children will feel her. And when you want to make her silver music, the child said, holding two pendants up so they rang together, you think of her and remember the dance. Ah, child, I sighed, I wish you could remember the dancer as well. It's all right, Gran, the child reminded me. I do remember her from every time you tell me, and I hear her. The pendants chimed again, and I heard her too. Then the child's expression became innocently sly. Give me your bracelets, Gran, and let me wear your straw hat with the strings, and I can be the dancer. And I could see that it was true, for the child's eyes were already dancing like the first grandmother's. Whew, that's always one I can barely get through. But to me, that is another way of saying that the loved ones who cross over, the loved ones who transition through that veil are never gone. We always have the ability to remember them. We always have the ability to have a flash of love and memory. And to me, every time that we think of that, that is bringing them to life. They live through your memories of them. That's right. And as long as you don't forget that feeling, that love that you had for them, they'll always be there. That's right. I love your new name, Pat, by the way. Love it, love it. So just remember that when we have these times of transition, that is not easy. Last year, Jennifer Ball lost her significant other. And there were so many who transitioned through. Try to keep in mind that they are never lost to us. They just change their aspects. I bring my baby nephew and the feeling he would give me, and always cheerful, and I see him living still. That's right. Just not here among us. Absolutely, for sure. And I just totally lost what I was going to say. Damn it. A new close friend of mine just bought me an eternal love candle. Aw, that's sweet. Not sure I can stay with this live. As some of you know, I lost my mom this month. I hear you, Linda. It's okay, and I understand. Absolutely understand. And you have to grieve, as much as and however you feel your grieving process needs to be, right? And we give you that blessing to grieve how you need to, honey. And just know that we love you. It is not easy to keep in mind that they are still with us, for sure. Especially when you're in that process. But we just try to remember. Do you recommend any other recommended pagan death ritual books? Yes. There is one. Starhawk wrote one that I love. The biggest one for me, let me see if I can find it, is called Journey. Hang on, where's my Goodreads? Give me 1 second. So it's called Journey something, and I recommend it every time. Come on, let's go. Every time I hear someone, my mother passed away October 31st, 2006. It's absolutely, I totally hear every year around that time, right? I hear you, it can become a hard thing to go through. Hang on. Owned. Give me 1 second. It's called Journey something. Okay. Journey. Search. Hang on. It's coming. I hope. Walking through. Sacred Journey. Nope, nope. Sacred Journeys. Nope. Journey. Nope. Nope. There it is. It's by Christopher Hughes. And it's called The Journey into Spirit, A Pagan's Perspective on Death, Dying, and Bereavement. And to me, that is the best book I've ever read on the subject of what we believe about the journey. I heard a Native American saying, we have two deaths. The first is when our body dies. The second is when the last person who remembers us forgets. Aw, that is beautiful. We knew she was going to go at some point. She was so sick, but always had spunk and stubbornness. Every year, the anniversary of my dad's death is always hard, but I try to remember he's here and he would want me to be strong, right? That's okay, Rachel. You can only do what you can do. Absolutely. I didn't know my grandma that well on my dad's side. It's beautiful how creative and crafty she was and how much we were alike. I even look like her. I honor for, we called her Grandma Honey. Aw. You have that book? That is, to me, that's the best one. There's a couple that are good. Like if you're looking to do a transition ritual and stuff, there are a couple that are, better than that as far as they have different rituals and stuff. This one has a couple different rituals in it too. But I know Starhawk's book is pretty good, and I think it's like Rituals on Death and Dying or something like that, Starhawk's book, which is good too. But that journey book, it's a different perspective, and it kind of takes you through, and Christopher talks about how he lost his mother, and it's kind of the journey he has through losing his mother. So to me, it's a really super good book about it. So, again, because it's Samhain, this is the time to kind of discuss that stuff, right? Because it's so close to us. Part of my cousin's services, he belongs to the Knights of Columbus. They came with swords. His sister's pagan. Me and my daughter never seen anything. Aw, I bet that was beautiful. I bet you that was beautiful. What a great remembrance. Okay, so let me just tell you this week. As usual, it's one of those weeks because I didn't get stuff done this weekend that I wanted to. I'm like, oh shit, can I get everything done I want to get? Okay. Tomorrow is another look at, we're going to look at some different crystals. Papa Squirrel went to a crystal gem show. He went to another crystal gem show, found quite a few things that he has up for sale. So we're going to take a look at some of the crystals and talk about some of the crystals energies that he got. Some new stuff that we haven't really seen very much of, so that's good. That's tomorrow night, 7:30. On Tuesday, we'll be doing Tarot Tuesday, which is, why can't I remember what card? Page of Wands? Is that what it is? Must be. I've started, yeah. Page of Wands. I've started pulling cards out, but not quite done yet. Wednesday, I normally take off. I have a half day Wednesday. I will probably take off if I can. Wednesday, I would like to get my walkthrough done of the Witches Insurrection Tarot, because Thursday is my evening shift this week. Page of Wands, thank you. Thursday is my evening shift this week, so it's not that I won't be doing a video, but I don't want to leave a longer video for Thursday. And in between, I'm going to try to start reading some of the Samhain books. That's okay, Rachel. I understand, honey. It's been a while since it happened, but I feel like my connection to the energies of beings around me has amplified since my suicide attempt, especially my grandpa who passed away 3 years ago. And that can happen, Cronus, for sure. Kind of soothes your grieving. That's good. That's really good. the closer you are to the veil, I do think the easier it is to feel those impressions from the other side, which is why children, especially because they were on the other side of that veil a lot more recently than most of us, can usually see and hear things from across the veil that we might not normally see and hear, for sure. And then, we start downing that and telling them that that's not true and dampening that sense so that they think it can't be real. And then they try to forget about it, and then they lose that. So it definitely is, definitely happens. Would it be possible to get the Samhain books in a PDF in the group? I don't know, Trevor. That's a good question. We have to be careful because of copyright stuff. So it depends on the copyrights on them. We'll see. Best feeling is to honor them and do the things that they would do if they were living. Yep, absolutely. And we can talk about, we talked a little bit about the dumb supper, and we talked a little bit about the just a regular ancestor dinner. I can't seem to reach him. Jen, what do you think about healthcare workers in the veil? I mean, we're around death, but it's not like it's our family. I think, Sherry Bug, as someone who has been around a lot of people that are near death and dying and closer to the veil, I think we have a responsibility to help that transition as best we can. And I think it's most of the healthcare workers that I have known have figured out a way to do that with as much dignity as they can to help the person transitioning. I think that some healthcare workers are afraid of that still, and maybe have not been trained or don't feel comfortable or that kind of thing. I think every healthcare worker should do some kind of stint in hospice so that they get more comfortable with it. She says, I can't go to the gem fair here. Pat, I totally understand. Like I am kind of glad that I missed the gem show here because my pocketbook can't take it. As it is, I owe chaos like a lot more than I care to say online here. You were broken in quickly, right? It just happens. I tell a story often, I don't know, kind of often, probably once a year, of my aunt who drives me crazy. She was a psych nurse and did all kinds of stuff. She helped us. It's only half an hour away. Ooh, that's really close. Maybe if you set a limit, Pat, if you guys set a limit and say you can only spend, but that's really hard to do, and then walk into a gem show and only spend that. Good luck. But I tell a story about my aunt and I, when I was a teenager, we went to help open the first AIDS hospital in Houston. With her, a friend of hers was a big hospital administrator and opened the first AIDS hospital in Houston. And this was at the time when AIDS was still feared a lot more than it is now. And they were having a really hard time finding healthcare workers that would work with AIDS patients. And so as a teenager, I went and did that, and I worked on the children's ward for a month, which was it was a very good experience. It was not an experience that I talk about very much because it was a very hard experience. But from there, when I came home, I worked as a home health aide for the AIDS patients. We had 3 of us in the entire nursing agency who said we would work with AIDS patients. And so at that time, AIDS was a much different sentence. It was a death sentence at that time. And I can remember having to go to 5 or 6 different AIDS patients a day to help them just with, activities of daily living, cleaning them up a little bit, making sure they got to the bathroom, that kind of thing, that they were able to eat. And there was one gentleman that I just, some patients just stick with you forever, and he was Spanish speaking and I spoke no Spanish and I always felt terrible. But he didn't need very much towards the end. It was just, kind of comfort in his family. I still can't talk about this, can I? His family at the time, because so little was known about how you contracted it, even though we knew they wouldn't, they wouldn't trust it. His family wouldn't touch him. And so I remember towards the end just holding his hand and singing. And yep, that's all I'm going to be able to say about that. But it was a life experience that I will never forget, taking care of those patients and loving those patients. And it taught me something about the dignity of death and what should be, what should happen when you're that close. Right? I know, I'm sorry, you guys, to get so that down, but it teaches you. I think everyone should, if they have the opportunity, I think everyone should be there and help someone to transition, because it teaches you more about life than it does death. It teaches you how fleeting life is and how, you should not wait a second to live as full a life as you can live, because we're all that close to that transition. Right? I know I did, for sure, Selkie. Volunteer, yes. Volunteer at hospice. There is something, to me, it's such an honor to be there for the transition. And I can't even count how many I've been there for, but it is a true honor. And each one teaches me something different. Yes, I agree. I agree. Hi. Okay, so never think you have tomorrow to say you forgive someone. That's right. You might not have that chance. Yes, in the early 80s, when it didn't even have a name for it. So sad. One of dearest family members has AIDS and is living today. So thankful, right? I know I can't, the strides that they made with that disease are unbelievable. Just to look at the patients that I had to take care of back then, it's unbelievable to me that they have made the strides that they have, and I'm so happy for that. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on now, and I think of the people I knew whose families rejected them. I know that's, to me, that just, rip your heart out and stomp on it again. That was always the hardest thing, is to see this, this man whose family wouldn't touch him. And he just holding his hand, just singing to him, I know it meant everything, because I saw the tears. I felt that ease. And I will tell, and he waited until I was able to be there before he transitioned, by the way, too. So I knew that it had made a difference. Right? Exactly, Selkie. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So I'm not going to stay on too much longer. You guys know I love you guys. I have so much that I could do. I don't know when I'm going to fit in my elderberry syrup recipe, because it needs to be really soon. I need to get it done. I may end up just filming it, I guess. I don't know. Part of the problem is there's a 45-minute window from the time that you start boiling everything down until everything is boiled down. And I'm kind of like, I don't know what to do with that 45 minutes. I could show a deck. But in the middle of the video, it's kind of like, So I might just film it, but then I have to figure out how to cut and splice. I don't know. You know how technologically retarded I am. So we'll see. So for now, tomorrow is a crystal talk and a little sale with Papa Squirrel. Tuesday is Tuesday Tarot. You can easily fill 45 minutes. I know, but I got to figure out something that kind of goes with that. I'm like, should I talk? I could talk about herbs, I guess, and other stuff that you could do. Like that is stuff for health when it's the dark half of the year, because there's other stuff that I used to do that I haven't done in a long time that I can do. Let me work on it. We'll see. I worked as a medic overseas, and yes, it's soul gutting when you have patients whose families won't be there. I agree. Ugh, it is not an easy thing. All right, I'll work on it. We'll see if I can get enough stuff together. I have to pull out my herb manual thing and see what I haven't done in a while. There's a couple things. There's a couple citrus things that I haven't done in a while that I would really like to do again. It's been like probably 10 years or so. So let me look at what I haven't seen for a while. Tomorrow is the homemade herbal teas. That's a good idea. Tomorrow is the crystal sale and crystal talk with Papa Squirrel. So tune in at 7:30 for that. And then Tuesday, we'll do Tuesday Tarot, and we'll just go from there. Now, I'm trying, how much time do we have until Samhain? I know it's like the 20th now, right? So we only have like a week and a half, something like that. Cannot even believe. October calendar. Open it up. Shauna says I can't watch you and Papa. I don't blame her. Okay, so tomorrow's the 21st, so it's like a week, yeah, a little over a week. It's almost 2 weeks, but it's like a week and a half, 11 days, yeah. Whew. Yeah, it's coming right up on us, guys. So, and I haven't done nearly what I wanted to do this year. I always have way bigger eyes than my hands can work. All right, guys, I love you so much. Hopefully your weekend has been great. Get some rest tonight so you start your week out wonderfully. I love you all so much, and thank you for joining me. This candle will be on. It takes usually 2.5 days or so, so it'll be on. Love you.